Hey guys, and welcome to this next video of photography tips. Today I'm going to be getting a little more personal and talking about how I got started as a wedding photographer and what I wish I knew when I was starting out and where I am today. Hopefully this will bring you inspiration, will help you if you're just starting out as a wedding photographer, and will eventually hopefully get you full-time. So let's dive right in and chat more about this thing. So I didn't think I was going to be a wedding photographer when I first started out. I went to Point Loma Nazarene University, which is a great school down in San Diego here in California. And I was just planning really on getting a communications degree, doing something involving marketing, and just sitting at a desk 9 to 5. I really didn't mind that when I was going into college, so I was expecting to do that when I was going to graduate. I got my first camera my sophomore year of college, so 2013 Christmas. My mom got me my first DSLR, my little Rebel T3i, which is a very common camera that a lot of photographers start out with. So if you have that camera, keep it. It's actually a really great camera to have when you're beginning. I had that. I studied abroad in Europe and started taking a lot of landscape photos. While I was doing that, I then started taking pictures of some of my best friends and found, wow, I really like taking portraits. That's a lot of fun. Taking pictures of people is a lot more, I guess, interesting to me than landscape photos. And then eventually when I returned home from studying abroad, I set alarms to remind myself to go back to work. So I got home from studying abroad and I started taking pictures of like senior portraits, started kind of making some money on the side, but I really didn't think I was going to be a photographer as my career. Also during my sophomore year, I was doing a wedding coordinating internship and I learned that weddings are really fun. I actually love being a part of weddings and like serving the bride and the groom and serving, you know, on that day, making sure the bride is good and just being a part of the big celebration. Weddings are just so fun to me. So I learned that weddings are fun, but I can't be a wedding coordinator because it's just too stressful and the logistics in it, I like wasn't finding joy in that. So yeah, I learned in that process weddings are great. Still didn't know what I was gonna do with that. When I graduated college, I got a marketing job at a tech company here in Orange County, and I worked there for about a year. It was an awesome experience. I learned a lot of marketing, and I learned just a lot of the business side of big corporations and, I don't know, being in a corporate environment. But I learned that it wasn't my true passion. It wasn't something that I could see myself doing every day, and I really didn't see myself growing in that environment. So I did a lot of hard thinking and I was like, well, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna find another tech job and stick in marketing, or am I gonna do something that I am being filled with and is actually fulfilling to me? I'd always sat at my desk kind of thinking like, there's so many other things I could be doing, or like there's something better that I should be doing. I don't know, like sitting at a desk answering emails wasn't my calling, I guess. So anyways, I kind of just decided after that year that I was just gonna dive headfirst into wedding photography, learn more about it, see if I can make this a career for myself, and if not, great, I'll find something else to do, but if so, then I'm doing what I love and making a career off of it. So I started second shooting with awesome photographers in the area, and just getting my hands on my cameras, investing in that gear right away, which I do recommend because, I mean, if you're charging a certain amount of money, you do want to have the professional equipment to charge that. But it doesn't go without saying, if you have the Rebel T3i and you get like a nice lens and can put it on that camera, you're gonna get professional quality photos. So regardless of what camera body you have, I think if you have the right lens, you can totally sell anything and make it super professional. and make it look nice for your clients. But you know, I went a different route. I kind of just invested in a bunch of cameras all at once and started second shooting. I started getting as much experience as I could, doing a lot of unpaid shoots, getting a lot to build my portfolio, and then also just learning how to photograph a wedding correctly. I think if I hadn't done second shooting, I would have been totally lost, and I definitely would have missed some shots when I was doing my own weddings. So last year was my first year setting up my wedding business and doing it not full-time, part-time. And I ended that year with about 10 weddings that were mine, so primary shooter. And then I did, I think, around like 20 total with second shooting. So I had a lot of weddings under my belt, and I was just marketing myself like no one's business on social media, on Facebook, on my website, like trying the best that I could to get the word out about what I was doing and how I wanted to make this my career. Eventually, a lot of my friends on Facebook started seeing that and started inquiring once they started getting engaged. I think I actually started at a really good age where a lot of my friends are starting to get married, and I had a lot of them seeing what I was producing, the work that I was showing, and they started reaching out to me, you know, looking for photographers for their wedding. And I was ready and available, and I think that really helped me going into this year, 2018, where I am officially booked out for this year, which was incredible. I was not expecting that. I started going full-time in February of 2018, this year, and I'm still like awestruck that this has happened in about a year. So I really took a minute to reflect and think, well, what did I do right, and what do I wish I would have known going in before I kind of just dove head first, or what would have made me more efficient before I started. So I'm going to talk about the things that I wish I knew when I was starting out. One of the things that I wish I knew more about was organization, and that goes like with putting your photos in files, folders, like how do you organize that? What is the best way to do that? Do you do it by date? Do you do it by session, by wedding? And then like Lightroom catalogs, how do you organize that? Do you keep them in all one catalog? So when I was starting out, there was a lot of confusion there, and honestly, I just asked a lot of questions to other photographers on social media. I went to workshops and learned more about that. But I think when I was starting out, that would have been something really nice to know. So to kind of touch on that, I organize my weddings, or I guess my clients, by their names and by date. So I know what wedding I'm looking into, or I guess if I'm diving back into that folder and I have to go through and edit that session, I know when that session was, what's next, and what client I'm currently working on. So that's the way I do it now, and then I also use a different catalog for each wedding, each engagement. Basically, each session has its own catalog, and the reason I do that is because Lightroom is a lot faster when there's less photos in a catalog. My workflow is a whole other subject, and I'm definitely going to go through that at some point, but for now, all you need to know is just really look into being organized if you're starting out. How are you going to organize your files, your Lightroom catalogs, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me. I'm always open to answering any questions you guys have. The second thing I wish I knew more of was Flash. And this one's like kind of something that people don't really think about, but when I was starting out as a wedding photographer, I thought, oh, you know, Flash is Flash, it's easy. No, it's actually a little more complicated than, you know, you might think. So getting as much practice as you can with your Flash before you do your own weddings is so important, because, you know, when nighttime comes, you will need a Flash. It doesn't matter what like location you're in or what the lighting scenario is. You're probably going to need a Flash if it's nighttime. So knowing your Flash is so important, and one of the things that I think was really helpful for me when I was starting out was learning settings and learning, okay, what gets what look. Okay, so the lower the fraction, the more power, and then you can choose what lens you have on, so like 35mm, 50mm, that to kind of give you the range. I do it in manual. I think manual is easier to learn because you can customize your settings. But like if you're in an indoor setting where the ceiling is white, you can reflect the light off of the ceiling, keep the flash pointed up, and then when you take the shot, the flash will have the light rebounding. The other thing that the flashes are really good for if you're like in an outdoor setting where there is no ceiling is this little thing. Every flash should have this, every professional flash. And this is really good at like directing light towards a subject, and it's a little softer than if you were to just point the flash like directly at the subject, where it might be a little overexposed and too powerful. So I love this for outdoor settings where there's like market lights or some other type of lighting to kind of balance the shadows. But look into this stuff with your flash. Figure out what look gets what look, or what settings get what look, and how you can make the best of your equipment. The other thing I wish I knew more of was just Lightroom software in general, how to edit properly, how to know what settings get what look. Again, so if you're just starting out, I recommend looking into like YouTube videos on what edit style you like, getting some presets, playing with different looks. The presets that have really helped me have been Ben Sasso's Heck Yeah Art Pack presets. I'm gonna put the link in the description below, so if you wanna check out those presets, you're more than welcome to. They've really helped me a lot with, I guess, the edit style, and then just looking at different editing techniques on YouTube and stuff like that is great. I do plan on putting out a video of how I edit to hopefully help you, and just some like cool tips and tricks, so stay tuned for that soon. So now that you know what I wish I knew, I hope that this helps you. Of course, if you have any questions about that, you're always welcome to message me, email me, whatever suits or floats your boat. But I would just like to tell you where I am now to kind of give you some hope on, you know, I started this a year ago and this is where I am now, almost a year and 2 months later. I now have completely booked out my 2018. I've hit my goal. I've more than like booked my goal. I think I'm going a little bit over, but it's okay. And now I'm full-time in just a year. I started January 2017, February 2018, I'm full-time. So that's crazy that that has happened, and I'm able to financially support my business and my family. And when I started last year, I had about 1,000 followers. Now I'm at over 4K followers on Instagram, which is awesome. Not to say that Instagram is, you know, good in like your ranking as a photographer, but it helps you reach more people. And so I do plan on putting a video out on Instagram and how to grow your following, how to reach more people too, so stay tuned. But for now, that's all I have. Thanks again for watching. If you guys have any questions or anything else you want to see, please comment below. I would love to do a video on something you guys are just dying to know more of. Having about 2 years of experience under my belt is definitely really cool, and I would love to help you guys if you're just starting out in any way possible. Thanks again, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends, and that's it.